Welcome, legends and heliheads and choppers and stick bangers, twizzle whizzle thummerers, scale flyers and lovers of all things rotors. Welcome to this video, which in part has been a long time coming. And some of you have reached out to me and said, please give us an update. Where are you with the Bell 222? It's been quite a difficult journey, and I'm going to give you an update now. It's nowhere near finished, but I have made significant progress. So I want to share that with you, and then you can see exactly where I am. So, enough of me. I'm going to turn this camera around and walk you around from the rear. Okay, starting from the rear then, with Bella, the Project 6, the Bell 222. We can see that her fuselage is now complete now. We've got her tail fin on, and of course, as I've shown you in a video up there, where we put the light in at the rear, and we've routed the cable inside the boom. That's secured inside the boom, all the way through the boom to the main fuselage. The side wings here, there is actually a spar that goes straight through the wings to give the wing stability, and through the boom, creating a sort of a wooden U shape, so that the boom of the helicopter goes on top of that. For this model, which is an Align Trek 700L, that interferes with it, so I couldn't use that. So I maintained the spars inside for rigidity, screwed the wings onto the small stubs that were sticking out, and epoxied these wings onto it on the inside, and as you can see on the outside. It's my very bad epoxying, but well, at least it's a straight line, eh? So I'm no concern, that is nice and straight now. And just lifting the helicopter up gently, because I've got the mechanics in it, you can see there that the wings are level, and I managed to keep them level purely by a bit of masking tape and making sure they're at 90 degrees to the boom when I secured them. Moving forward, we can see that there are loads of cables hanging out the windows and so on. That's just so that I could have some room inside the fuselage. Here are the lights for the Unilight system on the navigation lights on the port and the starboard side. And you can also see a servo cable. The servo cable here, servo cable on the other side, and a servo cable hanging out the front here. And you will note a serverless retract at the front. Now, it has been such a bone of contention and such a difficult journey, I am going to do a separate video on the whole retracts and landing gear that I'm going to be using for that. So we're going to skip past that for now. Looking back at the tail, now, this is quite complex. The rear cone here, which is screwed on, you're going to have to cut out the right amount of shape here for the pitch slider and for the control arm. The control arm, you're going to have to cut out on the boom here and the rear end cap the right shape to fit that. Don't follow the instructions, because the instructions are wrong. The instructions were written in 1812, and particularly for gasser machines like the Thunder Tiger and so on. So has no bearing for you whatsoever. The key thing is that the rod going to the control arm moves freely, and there's no rubbing or no impact. Inside is a foam cup which keeps the boom central, but you've only got one at the end here, and I'm actually going to fit my own one further on down around about here. Right, next, the difficult thing about building a radio controlled helicopter fuselage like this is, without shadow of doubt, alignment. It is complicated. The only way around it is to take your time and be logical. Now, Bella's inside here, you can see here, is in pieces, and that's because I've stripped out her servos. I'm using different servos and all sorts. I'm basically rebuilding the mechanics from scratch. And I've done that so that basically when I want to be able to maintain this, I want to be able to take it out all in one, rather than actually have servo cables and all sorts, you know, dotted around inside. Clearly the lighting cables will be secured on the fuselage inside, but I want to be able to take Bella out, service her, because all helicopters need servicing. But I want to be able to service her and have everything contained on the frame. The key thing with alignment is this: it is not governed by your position of the tail. It is governed by the center of gravity and center of rotation, which is your rotor mast. And the only way of making sure that you've got the frame in the right place is by simply putting on the doghouse like this and making sure that that is center. Now, I'm not going to give you a demonstration here, but I can assure you it's 28 millimeters all the way round. Whether you use a ruler, a fag packet, whether you use a ruler, whether you use a fag packet, or whether you use a caliper or whatever, it's 28 millimeters all the way around. And that is a key, absolute, fundamentally key important thing to make sure that this rotor mast is center of this cutout. Now you're going to have to make adjustments to this cutout, particularly for the swash arms and the blade grip arms, etc., the control arms. You're going to have to make some cutouts, but for now, you just need to make sure that that is central. If that is central and you've got the right mechanics, the right size, and the fuselage is the right size, then when you put your boom on, it will be at the exact length you need it to be at. And if it's not, you need to make some adjustments. Now, it's probably difficult to see here, but Bella is mounted on a floor that has been created for her onto the actual fuselage itself. We're going to take Bella out now and take a closer look at that. Okay, looking from the front of the helicopter, you can see the flooring where the main mechanics of Bella are going to get mounted to. Now, two things about this. The first thing is that if you just mounted a piece of wood directly to this fuselage, then you will not help when it comes to vibrations. Then the helicopter will shake itself. Remember, there's natural frequencies that resonance is created at, i.e. vibration, and what you want to try and do is match those frequencies between your mechanics and your fuselage. Now, you don't know what they are, so all you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you reduce as best as you possibly can those vibrations. I've decided to go with a wooden floor with foam mounted either side, and that way the mechanics are completely separate from the actual fuselage. In essence, Bella is lifting this floor. This floor just so happens to be attached to the fuselage. So this floor is in. The batteries will be mounted either side. And so, as you can see, I've still got some work to do with regards to how they're going to go in there, but they will mount either side. Now, what about the bottom of Bella? Let's have a look at Bella's bottom. Okay, here is Bella, and underneath there you can see the familiar aluminium align mounting plate at the bottom that holds both frames together, and you can see at the back here, or sorry, underneath, is I've secured via epoxy a couple of runners here, and these runners will further separate Bella from the floor, but essentially raise it a little bit higher so that the alignment is better for the boom. Now look, no amount of talking from me is going to tell you how to do that. You have got to do some trial and error. And you know, you will find a sweet spot where the boom at the back is aligned all the way through the fuselage to the tail, or to the main drive here, the front drive of the torque tube on the frame. Now, what I've used, to be honest with you, as a guide, believe it or not, is the control rod. Is the control rod for the rudder. And as I look down through the boom, and I'm able to look all the way down, if that control rod is level, that's good enough for me. That's what I'm looking at, is the control rod of the for the tail servo. Previously, before I sort of sussed on very quickly that I need to use that as an alignment, the control rod for the rudder was bent. It was bent, and that told me that obviously the helicopter main frame was too low in the fuselage. It needed to come up. So yeah, trial and error, I'm afraid, as in for alignment, but you will get it, and I'm sure every helicopter is different. Right, what's next? So next, quite simply, is that I've got to remove this floor now, and I've got to secure the floor of Bella onto the floor of here, because I'm not going to be able to do that in place. It's going to have to be fitted to here, and then the whole helicopter fitted inside with the floor, and then I secure it to the fuselage. Can't do it in pieces because the bottom of Bella's bottom essentially has got 6 screws that go all the way through this floor and underneath the other side. Underneath Bella, we can see here, those are the screws you can see there. I'll paint those white so you won't see those, and you won't see the screws that come through from the floor of Bella's bottom and through here when I eventually mount them on here, hence the drawing so that it's lined up correctly. So that's the next bit, and I'm also going to work out how I'm going to secure the batteries in here, which fit in here perfectly, but I need to be able to secure them properly with Velcro and some straps so that I can mount them in there. Of course, lighting is also part of the next steps. Now up there you can see the lighting that we're using for this. It's a professional lighting system, the Unilight, and we have got a navigation light at the back, which is white. We've got red on the left, green on the right for navigation, which has got built-in strobes. We've got a beacon at the back here. We have got a beacon strobe on the top of the doghouse. And of course, what we've got to do is we've got to wire all of that in. And all of that is going to get wired in permanently onto and around the frame on the inside of the helicopter. At the front here, I've got a bit of space, and I may well mount a small mounting area here where I can mount some electronics like servo splitters and so on, and things like the ESC receiver, fly barless unit and so on. I'm probably not going to fit Bella's nose. Don't tell her that. She's not going to have a nose inside. She doesn't need a nose inside. She's got a nose here, and we will custom fit where we put the electronics. But again, that's me thinking, and that's my final message and my final lesson at this stage, is to think out loud. Think wide, think deep. There are lots of ways of doing it, and unless you're a seasoned expert that's been doing this sort of thing for decades, then you will always find different ways of doing it. Experiment. You know, that's the whole point of this hobby, this wonderful hobby, is for you to go on your own journey. She will fly, absolutely she will, and she will look fantastic, but this Bell will not be the same as someone else's Bell 222. Right, let's wrap up. There we go, legends. I hope that was useful. That's an update on the Project 6, the Bell 222 build Bella. You can see that we've made some progress. The fuselage is now complete. The mechanics are pretty much lined up. The flooring has been made, and we've just got to line that up and get that in. The electronics are next, of course, the lights and the additional fitting of the ESC, fly barless unit, receiver, satellites and so on. And of course, we've got to actually build Bella's mechanics. In summary, we're making progress, we're doing the best we can, and we are going to fly this as promised to ourselves on August the 14th, 2023. That was the challenge we set. We wanted to become a better flyer, more confident, minor 3D ability, and to build Bella. We will meet that date. Until the next update video, take care. See you later. Bye-bye.